When you are updating your budget in your budget routine, you may find that there are times when you are consistently overspending in a certain area. And rather than letting that throw you off, I want to give you three questions that you can ask yourself. And the way that you answer these questions will help you get back on track so that you can take action without feeling shame.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
Your budget routine can be kind of a tough one to talk about in the five foundational routines. And a lot of times it's because all of our budgets are so different. And the way that I budget is not going to necessarily be the exact same way you budget. And our priorities are different for where we spend our money as well. So nothing is exact. Like if you are budgeting a certain way, there's no one that should be telling you what you should be putting your money towards. It's all about figuring out what your goals are, what your plan is, and how to move forward from there. So, you want to do this if you're married, you want to really do this with your spouse so that you guys can align on your plans and then move forward from there. And one of the things that I have found though is that it doesn't really matter how much you're spending in a certain area, but you really want to ask yourself these questions when you find that you are going and exceeding the amount that you planned to spend. So, the whole point of creating a budget is to assign where your money is going to go so that it can help you reach your goals. But when we find that we are consistently overspending in a certain area, it's time to kind of reassess and take a look at that so that we can make changes or figure out if our priorities are aligned properly. Now, when I talk about consistently overspending, this isn't just saying, like, okay, I had a medical bill come in and it was a one time thing, it blew the budget, and that's that. Now, that's not what I'm talking about necessarily. I'm talking about things that are like being consistently over budget, like month after month or several months out of, like maybe 4 out of 6 months, you are over budget. And this could be any thing really. It could be bills, it could be categories. So maybe it is groceries where you're just going over budget every month for groceries. Or maybe it's your social life budget where you are kind of going out and you're having fun and you're doing date nights and you are just spending way more than you had thought that you were going to or that you had planned on, which is throwing off the rest of your budget and where you wanted your money to go. So when one thing goes over, it does kind of throw off the rest of it, and then you need to tweak it and figure out where that money's coming from. But when we can stay within budget, it makes it so much more streamlined. But when we are consistently going over months in a row, then we really need to stop and take a look. So I have three questions here that you can ask that will help you get back on track that don't make you feel guilty. I never want you to feel guilty when it comes to budgeting because this is not a perfect process and nobody does it perfectly. And if you are doing it perfectly, then you're very rare. Like nobody is budgeting the perfect way every month, like month over month. And there are times, especially in the beginning of budgeting, where it's going to be pretty rocky and you are going to have some challenges. And it's just a matter of continuing to practice and continuing to try because you can learn your habits and your spouse can learn their habits and you guys can learn how you guys manage money together. And it can be really a unique experience if you don't bring the shame and the guilt into it, but more of a learning perspective and you want to learn. So, these three questions will hopefully help you to determine not only why you are overspending, but also to make some changes. So, your question number one you want to ask is, are these a necessary expense? So, are these costs a necessary expense that you are going over budget with. Now, like I said, this could be medical bills where it is a needed expense. This could be groceries. Like, is it actually needed or did you kind of, get a little wild with your grocery budget or have a lot of impulse buys and not necessarily plan out that meal plan very well. Like I said, is it your social life? Maybe you are finding deals on Amazon that you just feel like you can't pass up. Like, what is causing you to go over, and are they actually necessary? And then question number two is, what can I do to reduce the cost or eliminate the impulse? So, if it is a necessary expense, like a medical bill, then there probably isn't going to necessarily be a way to reduce the cost because you can't control that if it is an emergency. But if it is groceries, then there are ways you can reduce the cost or even eliminate the impulses. So, if it's groceries, you could meal plan and have an idea, have your list written ahead of time and figure out exactly what you need, see if it's within your budget, and make sure all your meals and snacks and everything are prepared on this list so that you're covered. Maybe it's a once a week grocery shopping trip where you can get all these things, get what you need, and then be within your budget. Now, if you are an impulse shopper where you're going through the aisles and you start grabbing things you don't need, either you can go in and just be really adamant that you're going to stick to your list and not go off your list, or if you really feel like you can't control it, another option is there are so many places that have like pickup that you could do it at Walmart, you can do it at Target, you can do it at a lot of grocery stores. Aldi has a pickup. There's a lot of different places that you can do a pickup option where you could create your list. You can even see how much it's going to cost so you can truly stay within your budget and then just order it for pickup. So all you have to do is drive up and pick it up. You don't even have to go in to be tempted by those impulse purchases. Another option is if you are doing all those Amazon finds and you need to figure out a plan to reduce this, maybe it is like you're allowing yourself to put things in a cart because that is what you are constantly doing is putting them in a cart. But rather than checking out right away and ordering that thing, maybe you have a limit that you have to wait 24 hours or maybe 36 hours, maybe a week, whatever you can handle, but have like a period of time where you have to wait before checking out. And a lot of times you might find that it's not actually something that you need and the impulse to purchase it has passed by the time you can actually go back in and check out. You might be like, I'd rather save the money for the goals that we're trying to reach, and it's not as important to get this item that I threw in my Amazon cart. It's things like that. It's like, what plans can you put in place to help you reduce that cost or eliminate that impulse? And then question number three, if it is a needed expense, what can I do to better prepare for it? So, like I said, if it is a medical bill or something to that effect, then is there a way that you can set up a sinking fund to be prepared for expenses like this? Now, it could be a medical bill, it could be home repairs, it could be vehicle maintenance, like all of a sudden you got a flat tire and now you need to replace your tires. It's things like that that might be throwing you off. Now, a lot of those are one time expenses, but if you find that they are throwing you off pretty consistently, because let's say you have a flat tire on your car, but then the next month, all of a sudden, you know, I don't know car parts, wheel bearing goes out in your dad in your husband's car, something like that, then if it's happening month over month that all of a sudden all these repairs are needing to be done, then it's probably a good idea to start a sinking fund for vehicle repairs. And that's actually one that my husband and I have all the time anyway, because we always seem to be needing something every couple of months. So it's just nice for us to have it, but if that is you, then that's a sinking fund to consider. And basically, all a sinking fund is being like when you set up your monthly budget, all you're doing is you're taking a certain portion of your income and you are assigning it to a sinking fund. So it's kind of like a savings account, but instead of just having one lump sum in a savings account, you can put it in there, but you're earmarking it for a specific expense. So we have it in a spreadsheet where if we put, say, $200 in a sinking fund for vehicle maintenance that month, then we just plug it in there. We have it in our savings account. We have it in a spreadsheet that says the total of how much we have put aside for vehicle expenses. So that way, as we're going through the month and all of a sudden that tire, is flat and we need to replace it, then we can go straight to our sinking fund and see how much money we have in there. And that we can pull, and it can either help towards that expense so it doesn't throw off our monthly budget as much, or it could even completely pay for it if there's enough in there, and then it doesn't even affect our monthly budget at all. So it's just kind of recognizing those things that are nice to have some money set aside specifically for those expenses. And then it helps to just stay on track with your monthly budget much more. So those are the three questions that I think can help you to really figure this out and to ask yourself these questions, and then even take a journal or a notebook and write down the answers so you can really visually see what is happening and what you can actually do to kind of make some changes so that it doesn't affect you as much moving forward, and you can start to learn what is best for you and your budget. So, a few episodes I just wanted to mention that might help you if you need to go back and look at how to create your budget in the first place, tracking your expenses, setting up those sinking funds, things like that. You're going to want episode 7 to build your base budget, episode 16 to track your expenses. Episode 85 is all about sinking funds, and actually shares 14 ideas of sinking funds for your budget routine. And then episode 95 is another one that kind of helps you of what to do when you're overspending the amount you budgeted. So more of the tactical version of like if you're overspending, now what do you do in that process? So that one will help you with that. But if you have questions, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at theroutineadvantagepodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, if you have not taken some time to review the show yet, I would be so very grateful. You can go right into your podcast app, you can leave a rating and review, and I would love to hear from you. So I hope that was helpful for you. I will recap those three questions, and then I can let you go get back to your day so that you can enjoy. Question number 1 is, are these costs a necessary expense? Question number 2, what can I do to reduce the cost or eliminate the impulse? And question number 3, if it is a needed expense, what can I do to better prepare for it? So, those are the three questions to help you get back on track after consistently overspending in your budget. And I hope they were helpful. I'll see you next time.
Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.